Hello my loves, I'm coming from you from a fairly fragile place today. I went for dinner last night in Sexy Fish Manchester, by the way, which is so vibey, so much more fun than the London one, and the food's amazing. Anyway, I went for dinner last night, nothing out of hand. I was in bed by 1:30. I had a few Aperols before dinner, couple of glasses of wine at dinner, sneaky vodka soda to end the night. The way I woke up this morning was if I'd been on a 2-day bender, and this is one of the biggest differences from being in your 20s to your 30s, because tell me how I used to go to Ibiza 7 days and 7 nights, drink, get a hangover, but power on through, get back up on that horse. Tell me why now I go for a little dinner, a little din-dins, I get 8 hours sleep, I wake up, my aura ring is telling me my readiness is at 50 to listen to my body, my heart rate's up, my body temperature is elevated. I felt like my heart was rattling inside my chest. I was absolutely riddled with anxiety, just the body one for no reason. There was no shame, there was no blackouts last night, but my body unfortunately felt like I'd stripped and ran through and called everybody in my phone and told them I hated them. Like, that basically is what my body felt like this morning. And I couldn't do anything all day. I've been on the settee until 4 o'clock. And I'm just like, even in my mid-20s, like, yes, I had hangovers and yes, I had the anxiety, but never stopped me. I'd be back up 3-4 times a week. If somebody told me I had to go out again today and drink, there'd be no chance. Like, I can barely get myself to the kitchen today. Just can't do it like I used to do. Also, like, I'm drinking electrolytes and stuff now. There was no electrolytes when I was younger. There was no meditation apps or, sheet masks that we could sit and have some alone time for 10 minutes. No, there was none of that. There was checking your phone and seeing all the people that you drunk, called and rang, you missing bank cards, your friends coming in and just laughing in your face, you waking up in your makeup, you're sick, and you just carry on. I would never repeat those days, but I low-key miss them. Glad I had them, but yeah, impossible to do now. Absolutely impossible. Well, when I went skiing, I was sick for 8 hours. Thankfully, because skiing is earlier, you're home by 10. So I woke up to be sick at 4 a.m. By 12 p.m, I was good to go. Then I went to La Folly. But no way did I drink there. I actually had a matcha in Folly Douche. Like one of the most iconic après bars. I had a matcha like this with a glass. Like literally as I was walking through, I could feel people looking like, is she right? And no, I wasn't. I also just been watching the Justin Bieber Coachella. I'm a little bit too old for Bieber fever. Like, I never really got it. Obviously, I know his songs and stuff, but I was never part of that, like, hype. But obviously, Billie Eilish was, because I'm seeing these montages of videos of her talking about him. And I just think to have your childhood absolute, like your ultimate childhood dream, for that to happen, like, she's in tears and people commenting like, oh, her and Justin friends, like, she's met him. But I'm like, if you've got a dream since you're a child that can you imagine, like, sitting at home and dreaming about something and then it happening? I don't think it matters what age you are. That is going to happen to you and you're going to feel like a child. Actually, when I went to watch the Cowboy Carter tour, I was lucky enough I got to see it twice. And the first time we had tickets down in the front, like in the stage bit. Obviously, I cried, that goes without saying. But the second time I went to see it, we were just in normal seats. I cried for the whole entire show, literally start to finish. I was sobbing because I was looking down and I was like, when me and Amelia used to go and watch her, like the first time I went to go and watch Beyonce, we were in the O2 right at the top. Like Beyonce was teeny, teeny, tiny down below. And we used to look down at those people and just think, oh my God, like, can you imagine? Like, that would be my dream. Like, to be down there and be that close to her, like, that would just be amazing. But then when I went to watch the show and I could look down and see those people, I was like crying for my younger self. I also had too many buzz balls. But still, I was just like, wow, like, we did it. Also, I'm glad that people are starting to like Hailey Bieber because she's been getting so much hate over the years. And I've just never understood it. One, none of us know her. And two, just like, don't be so mean about somebody. I've always loved her. So I'm happy that she's getting all the good. She's getting a lot of good press at the minute. She's getting a lot of good PR, which I feel like was very overdue for her. Although, speaking about hate online, guys, I'm in hot water again. Posted a video saying that I hate skiing. I mean, you guys will know from the episode. Yeah, skiing was traumatizing. I had a panic attack that first day. It was one of the most frightened I've ever been. It wasn't like being dramatic or any of that. I was literally frozen with fear. So anyway, I'm making a video thinking it's a little bit hee hee ha ha. No. If you say you hate skiing and you've got a full face makeup on, best believe people are going to come for you in those comments. And come for me, they did. Not that I care, don't take any of it to heart, but goes without saying now that if you get a video online that reaches a certain number of people, at least half of them are going to hate you. Okay, let's go straight into this week's story. It's from a girlie, and she says, I cheated on my boyfriend of 3 years and I don't know whether to tell him. Firstly, I love my boyfriend and I never thought I would be capable of doing this. Our relationship is good, but I guess it's got pretty comfortable. We have our routines, same jokes, same everything really. He is genuinely a good guy and has never given me a reason to doubt him or anything, but I think that's where the problem started to come for me. It felt a bit predictable. Then a new guy joined my team in work. Guys, it's always work. What do I say? It is always in work, these affairs. Nothing dramatic at first. We just got on really well and had a laugh, but we texted more than we probably should have. It felt new and fun, which I guess I hadn't felt in a while. I knew it was crossing a line before anything even happened, but I didn't stop it. I told myself it wasn't a big deal, it was harmless, and that I still loved my boyfriend, so this didn't change anything. But it did. I'd go home and everything started to feel a bit off, like he'd be talking to me and I'd be half there. He even asked me a couple of times if I was okay because I seemed distant, but I just brushed it off. I wish I'd spoken to him and told him how I was feeling. Of course, I actually saw a clip. I need to watch the full episode, but I don't know if you guys remember me talking about Esther Perel. She is a therapist, and she's basically like really, I guess, like mostly famous because of her view on affairs, and like she's quite open about it and like shows people how it can be forgiven and stuff. But I saw a clip, she went on Call Her Daddy again. She's been on it before, but she went on Call Her Daddy again, and like she was saying that people don't want to talk about things, like especially if it's around sex and stuff. And if people just spoke about things at that time, half, I shouldn't say half the affairs, but like infidelity in so many cases doesn't need to happen. Like sometimes you have just got bad people that don't care about the person they're with, or they've got their own issues and they're just going to hurt you, they're going to have affairs, and it's mostly like something to do with them internally. But I think sometimes like this is what this sounds like, you can be in a relationship and it just stems from a problem. And if you just spoken about that problem at the time, then so many things can be avoided. Okay, she says, after work drinks, always, oh God, okay. After work drinks, I got a little too drunk and ended up staying out with a guy from work. I knew where it was going and that I should have gone home, but we ended up sleeping together. I felt so awful straight away and just cried all the way home. I knew it was a mistake and it will never happen again. I've even started looking for new jobs. Now I don't know what to do. I feel like I can't keep this lie in, but I know it'll break my boyfriend's heart and that he'll probably leave me. I am so devastated and ashamed of myself and I just feel so stuck. Oh my God, it's just the absolute worst. But like I said, like firstly, I could tell you're a good person, because anybody that does something like that, feels bad, takes full accountability, that means you're a good person. Ultimately, if you've had an affair, a one-night stand, wherever, with somebody else, you've got to tell your partner or break up with them. I just don't think you can stay with somebody without them knowing. It's just not fair. And I just think if you flip it, you'd want to know, I'm sure. And also, he's going to be upset, obviously. But it doesn't always mean that you're going to break up and never see each other again. So many people this can happen to, and it'll make you stronger because then you'll talk about all the issues. You work through things. Like sometimes shit needs to hit the fan in relationships or friendships, even with families. Sometimes stuff needs to get so bad before it can get good again, and that's just like human nature, I think. So it might not even be at the end of the road, But ultimately, you've got to say. Oh, there's, the Sex and the City scene when Carrie, oh my God, guys. When Carrie tells Aiden that she's been having an affair with Big, that freaking season, by the way, seasons 3 and 4 have my heart and soul. Like, they are the seasons I've watched more than any other series. Like, oh, they just do something to me. When she tells Aiden and he says, I wish I didn't know this. That kills me, because I'm like, oh my God, he's even in that moment, he's just like, I wish you didn't tell me. But like, you have to. And also, if you've done something and you feel bad about it, you can't be normal with that person. So without even realizing, you're probably making the other person feel bad anyway, because you're acting differently and they probably like, what's happening? Okay, now I need to address something. Brace yourself if you're a Jacob Elordi fan. Like, I seem to be this fucking thirsty bitch over this man all of a sudden. My boots on the ground journalism Instagal told me that Jacob Elordi's been spotted with Kendall Jenner. And you know, I'm not mad about it, because firstly, they're both so tall. They're both so tall, and that alone makes them a perfect match. Because when you're that tall as a girl, I understand that you're going to be annoyed with the little 5-footer that's with the 6'4". Like, if you're a tall girl, they need to utilise the tall men. So for that alone, I'm here for it. Also, they're just so unbelievably hot. Like, if I was going to lose him to anyone, let it be Kendall Jenner, honestly, at this point, because I just feel like seeing them together, they both, even the way they dress, like, they're both cool. I would just love nothing more than for them to be like photographed together fully, because I haven't seen any clips or anything like that. It might even be a rumour, but I do trust my source. And yeah, good for you. The concept of being Kendall Jenner and being able to have, I'd say, arguably anybody in the world, like, it's a lot of power, and she seems chill with it. Okay, guys, I've actually got some big news myself this week. A little personal update. I have moved back in with Matt, and we don't live in London anymore. Big news there. To be fair, not living in London anymore doesn't feel that big a deal for me. Living by yourself in London when you haven't got like your friends on your doorstep 5 minutes away was not for me, honestly. I did it for 2 years and I was coming to the end there. Like, even if I was single, I think I would have ended up moving back to Wales, because, no. I think it's different. Like, it's one of those things that when you leave London, I can't ever imagine going back there now. I mean, I've left it before twice, but I've always gone back. But now kind of feels different. I don't know if it's just like, probably just literally because I'm older, like, you're starting to be in a different phase of your life. I can't imagine going back to that busy time. However, I'm still working in London, so I'm still going to be there every single week. And when I'm there, obviously when I need to be in the office, I can stay at Renee's or Sophie's. So I'm still getting like my hits of London. And I don't know, I guess if I was ever to move back there and I lived literally 5 minutes away, like, from my friends, maybe it would be different. But London can be such an isolating place. And guys, best believe that I overthought this decision for, honestly, the best part of 6 months, maybe. It was weird because when me and Matt first kind of got back together, really. I don't even know if you would remember this, but we were outside the building where we live now, and he was in the one next door. And the building that we're in now is brand new. But it was still being finalised. And he was like, oh, that's a new building next door. And, obviously depending how things go, it would be amazing if we could both move in there together. And I remember being like, too soon. It was 2 months since we'd been proper, back together. I was like, no, the alarm bells inside me was like, no. That's too soon. And it's so funny because that's exactly what's happened. Yes, it was a year later. I needed that time to be sure. But what I will also say is, did I need to overthink as much as I did? Absolutely no. I kind of want to say, if you've got a serious decision to make, yes, obviously take some time to think about it. But ultimately, you're probably going to do it anyway. And I was spiraling. The stuff that I was thinking about was but what if we have children together and then where are they going to go to school? And I was just, my brain is like, when you start to deep dive a situation, depending on what type of brain you got, you're skipping 5-10 years ahead, and it got too much. And actually, I think I was on the phone with Sophie, and she was just like, just do it. If you don't like it, you can move back. I'm not leaving my job. I'm leaving a flat that, look, I love my little flat, and there is something about having like your single girl flat. And as much as I was in the pits of hell through lots of it, I can still look back fondly and be like, do you know what? I lived by myself for 2 years, and I don't know, I almost like feel a little bit proud of it. I'm like, you did it, and you kept yourself habitable. Does that even make sense? But you know what I mean? For that amount of time. But like, it's not as if I was leaving behind my absolute dream flat. I hadn't bought a house or anything. Like, so although I have to say, I left the flat, and obviously I'm an emotional person. And my landlords, guys, were just the sweetest. I think I said that when I was looking for a flat after me and my boyfriend broke up, when I was looking for that flat, obviously it was not what I wanted to do. Like, be flat hunting when you're actively going through a breakup. Like, quite literally, no many worse feelings. And I went to 4 viewings. Sorry if you remember the story, but I went to one, and she was showing me around this room, and it was dire, by the way. And I was looking around, and she was basically like, oh, did you live in the area? And I said, yeah, I live just up there. Trying to keep the conversation to a minimum, because it was literally, when I tell you, like, I broke up with Matt, and then I think it was like 5 days later, if that, I was viewing flats. Like, I was literally like, I've made this decision, and I'm gone now. And it was Christmas time, so I was like, I need to get it done so I can just go home for Christmas. Perfect timing, by the way, like, all the emotions. Anyway, I must have told her that, yeah, I think I'd said like, oh no, yeah, I've broken up with my boyfriend, I'm just looking for someone. And she was like, oh, same, I broke up with my boyfriend, I'm here. And I just thought, no, we can't be these two strangers together in this dire flat. I'm just like big on gut feelings, as you know, and it was just a bad gut feeling. Anyway, I held it in, and then she took me into the kitchen. And she was like, here's the kitchen. And it was dark and freezing cold. And I was just like, I'm sorry, I can't, burst into tears. And this woman had to hold me in her living room. And then it's just like, this can't happen. And from that moment, I was like, oh yeah, because at first I was looking to share with somebody. And from there, I was like, I have to be by myself here. Like, I can't be with a stranger as I'm dealing with this. Like, being held by a stranger in the living room, like in her kitchen, no. I walked out like, yeah, let you know, mate. I was like, you never see me again. Yeah, basically, I went to a few, and when I went to the flat that I chose, I literally walked there, and Ted, the landlord, was basically like technically I think it's his wife's the landlord, but anyway, Ted was doing the viewing. And as soon as I saw him, when you just like feel so at ease with somebody, it was the longest viewing. It was about 40 minutes. He was showing me how to turn the shower on and stuff. I was like, Ted, I think I've got it. Also, I'm trying not to burst into tears here. So if we could just wrap this up. He was so lovely. I knew before I even went upstairs, I was like, I'm going to take this one, because it's just a feeling that I had. I'm big on trusting your feelings. So yes, made the right decision there. That was all great. And also, like, I stayed there for 2 years, and they never put the rent up. And it's the first time I had a private landlord, and it was the first time I lived by myself. And obviously, I've rented in London for years, and I've gone through like an estate agent, and bloody hell, I lived in Fulham 4. We were infested with mice. It was mental. The house that me, Sophie and Renee lived in, we had a mouse problem towards the end. I'd be lying in bed, and I could hear the scratching, and I could hear the mice crawling all the way around. I had a guy I was dating over once, and he was like crawling through, and he was like, what's that? I was like, that's just the mice. That's the mice and the rats just crawling above our heads. Like, oh my God, it was so bad. They didn't care, because the landlord doesn't care. They, literally, that's just bottom line. They don't care. Whereas this, like, they used to live in this house. They only moved out because they had a child and they needed more space. So they like wanted somebody taking care of they never raised my rent for the second year, and if ever I needed anything at the start, I would just WhatsApp them and they would always answer, and I was just like, it's just so sweet, and I really appreciated it. So on my last day of leaving, I wrote them a card and I bought them a candle, and Matt moved out and he was like, "You great, like what's that?" Like I was like, I just have to say thank him. Like honestly, I think I might have cried. Because it kind of feels like the end of an era. I obviously don't know what the future holds. You can literally never say never. But I don't feel like I'll ever be that person again. And if you've ever had a home that has kind of got you through something. Actually, I was watching Sarah Ashcroft's vlog, and she broke up with her boyfriend and lost her business, didn't she, in the same year? And she's just moved flats, and she was like, I call it a heartbreak flat, and like moving out to there, you just feel something for it, because yeah, if you've ever been in a place where I suppose like it hasn't got you through a bad time, but like your bad time happened there, you just feel like quite sentimental leaving it. It feels like you're kind of closing that chapter officially, and yeah, it feels really good. And what I will also say is, regarding big decision making, as soon as I moved back in that, 'cause obviously I was like, you know, what if we break up again, and is this the right decision, and blah blah blah, and like overthinking all this stuff. Literally as soon as I moved in, all the noise went. It was like instant. It's like, did not need to overthink this. As long as I did, feels like, yeah, just the right decision. And that's the thing, I think you can get so swept up. And yeah, even my therapist at the time was like, I don't know what to do with this. And I'd be like, and I love London. And she was like, but do you? Because you just hearing a lot of sadness from you around here. And and I was like, yeah, I don't know. And it's almost just like, it's just crazy how actually I've taken myself out today and just done it. And instantly I just feel at peace. The only thing is, I'm struggling to find a studio. I viewed some office spaces, not suitable, and the studios here, being completely transparent, are so expensive. So I'm struggling with that a little bit, hence why I'm back on the sofa the last few weeks. But I don't know, be honest, do you guys mind? Sometimes I'm just like, I need to be in a studio, like that's obviously my dream and it feels professional, but also like I was paying for that studio out of my own money, and just like losing money. So it's probably not something I could have kept up straight away anyway. So hopefully you guys don't mind. I mean, I know lots of you listen on Spotify anyway, and even though I do videos, like most people listen to audio, don't they? So yeah, got that off my chest. Oh, another thing I need to address, guys. Men dancing on the internet. What is happening? Renee sent me some TikToks being like, I can't believe this. Like, this is so sickening. And I was like, what's on your algorithm? Because this has never come across my table before. But best believe, since I've interacted with those videos she sent me, I get one guy reoccurring that comes up on my timeline. Guys, yes, it may be sexist. If I'm seeing a girl dancing hot, sexy on TikTok, I'm like, you go, girl. I'm literally like throwing £5 notes at her. I'm like, yes, get it, queen. A man coming across my screen, giving her the gun signs. Oh, no. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. And what's more disturbing is, I'm in the comment section, obviously why the videos keep coming up. Nobody is commenting anything bad. Not that I want them to have online hate. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm like, everyone seems to love it. The girls are thirsty for it. And I'm just like, am I old? Is this an old generation? Is this Gen Z, Gen Alpha? Are you going after guys that are dancing? Because surely there's no millennials that want a guy dancing on TikTok, surely. I can't handle a guy that's dancing on TikTok, has got Snapchat, a guy that isn't in work, you know? Just get yourself to work and come home. That's all you need to be doing. You don't need to be dancing online. There's also a thing, I think, where, yes, I like a confident man, of course, but there's also a thing where when a guy actively loves himself and you can tell that he is completely in love with himself, to me, it just makes him so unattractive there. And I'm like, oh, you're like staring at yourself and like giving her the blue steel to the camera. I can't handle it. And I'm not sorry. you know, each to their own. But some of them have got girlfriends, and the girlfriend's in the videos with them. I'm like, how are you videoing this? And I know I make TikTok, so I'm almost a little bit hypocritical, because I best believe I'm having like photo shoots and stuff. But if my boyfriend handed me the phone and said, will you film me here, and started dancing, you'd never see me again. That would have to be it. I'm sorry. Also, I don't know why, but over the last week, I've been seeing a lot of Ashley James on my timeline. You know, she works on This Morning, but she's like a really good voice for women. And she does a debate so well. Like, so sometimes those clips will come up, yeah, like if they go viral. And I've basically screenshot a couple of comments, which I thought were interesting. But if I'm honest, I can't fully remember what her video was about. I think it was about like just getting older and how like men view you differently like when you're older. But it's not because of, I don't know if this is what she said, but I think that kind of society, men, wherever, kind of led us to believe that after 30, basically like we're ugly and not attractive and all this stuff, and aging is so bad, etc. But what they were saying, and the one in the comments, this is the one I screenshot, she said, the only reason men think youth is attractive is because young women are not sick of their shit yet. Once a woman hits her late 20s, she starts to wise up. In her 30s, she's becoming less accommodating to below average men. In her 40s, she's way too confident to give a fleeting moment of attention to any man who isn't worth her time. So instead of trying to be worth her time, they prey on young women who will still treat them as if they're interesting and important, even when they have nothing to offer the world. And this is something I've really, really noticed, like the difference between how I view men is obviously what I notice the most, like from my 20s to my 30s. And it definitely is different. And you know what, now I look back and I think of my like 25-year-old self, which, I don't know, I've said this before, when I was 25, I felt really, really young. And I think that's because that's like when I moved to London, 24, 25. So even though now 24, 25-year-olds have got bloody houses and all the rest of it, for me, like I didn't even move out for uni. So that was really my first like, fuck, I'm free time. No shade to my parents, obviously. I loved living at home with them. I didn't mean it like that, but you get it. And just obviously just like experiencing different things. I look back now and I think like, yeah, I've always liked somebody a little bit older, but I think of like people that I would date that were probably, I don't know, maybe 8 years older, but definitely like a couple of them were 30 plus. Like I think I dated a guy who was 33, so it's 8 years older, but now I look back and I'm like, 25 to 33, I think is quite a big gap. I feel like when you're in your 30s and it goes 30 to 40, 40 to 50, I think that's completely different. And obviously this is not for all situations, because obviously not all men are the same. But definitely like in my situations, I'm like, oh, I think now, like you were probably with me, because they never like put me through any shit, it's not that. But like you were probably with somebody younger because you're not ready to settle down. And lots of girls in their 20s are not. I certainly wasn't at that age. And like there is a reason. I think that we've been led to believe that it's because we're so hot in our 20s. I just actually don't think that's true. I think in your 30s, you're not going on a date. You're not even going on a date with somebody that you think's a bit of a dick, you know? But in your 20s, it's just very different. But okay, I think I'll wrap up there, guys. If you've got any stories to share or anything you want to chat about, then send me a DM. I'm at Sadie Maltby or at Lovewhatluck, or send me an email, sadie@lovewhatluck.com. And also remember to subscribe, follow, share the episode, etc. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll speak to you next week.